I've not made your final exam yet, but I'm seriously considering putting a problem like this on the final exam as extra credit. That extra credit problem would be worth 10 points, 10 out of 100. That's 10 extra %. And the way it would go if I choose to do this is there would be a separate piece of paper with a problem, something like this one on it. And as you were turning in your final exam, you would come up, I would hand you the paper, and I would watch you write down the answer. There would be no work shown. You would just write down the answer. So the question is, can you learn to do this in your head? I've done this with a lot of students, and in general, if you're teaching an Algebra 1 class like Math 29 or Math 30, you show them how to do some of these like I'm about to show you, and generally speaking, about 3/4 of your students can do it the very first time they try it. If they're willing to practice, almost everyone can do this. There are a few people who can't, and if you happen to be one of those, then you simply will lose out on the chance for extra credit, should I choose to put this on the final. And I'm not making a promise, but right now I don't see why I wouldn't do that. So I think this probably will be the final exam question, extra credit question, unless I change my mind for some reason. So now, you can try to do this in your head by just concentrating really hard and trying to keep track of all the stuff that you do in your head, but that turns out to be kind of a bogus thing. So let those 2 dots represent the 5 and the 3, and let these 2 dots represent the 4 and the 6. Then what we're going to do is we're going to learn a new order to multiply in. I'm going to call this an up. So we're going to do the up first. And it's pretty easy. It'll, for instance, will be 3 times 6 over here. That's this up. This is the 3, this is the 6, that's our up. We're multiplying up. And so that'll be 3 times 6, that's no big deal. Then the next thing we're going to do, this is a first step. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a cross. And that means we're going to do the 5 times the 6, and we're going to do the 4 times the 3. The second step is the cross, and it's the hardest part. If you can do the cross, you can do this problem. If you can't do the cross, then you can't do the problem. That's what it boils down to, because the third step is another up. Okay, and that would be a 5 times a 4. So that's what we do. We do the first up, the right hand up, then we do the cross, then we do the up. And we have to keep track of things. So now here's how it goes in practice. Listen and watch closely, and then maybe stop it and try this exact same problem on your own. See if you can do it on your own. We do the up first. 6 times 3 is 18. We write down the 8 from the 18, and we carry the 1. Put it on your fingers if you need to. Put a 1 on your fingers. I'm holding up an index finger, trust me. So could you. Notice when I wrote down the 8, that's not cheating, that's not work. That's part of the answer. The answer ends in 8. Now the next part is hard. It really is, for some people, very hard. But you don't have to keep this stuff in your head. What's on your fingers? What are you carrying from this first up? Aren't you carrying a 1? Keep that on your fingers so that you can see that 1 there if you need to. Now we're going to do the cross. The cross is hard. It's 5 times 6 and plus 3 times 4. So you got 5 times 6, that's 30. And you got 3 times 4, that's 12. So you got 30, and you got 12, and you got the 1 on the fingers. Now so far I haven't really done much. I mean, you hopefully can multiply 5 times 6 and get 30, and 3 times 4 and get 12, and you can see the 1 on your fingers. But now you have to add them all. And depending on how the numbers play out, and depending on how your brain's working, adding can be a little bit hard, so let's try it. So you can add them in any order you want. So I'm going to leave the 1 alone because it's easy to add 1, the 1 on my fingers from the 18. I'm going to do 30 plus 12, 30 plus 12, 30 plus 12, that's 30 plus 10 plus 2, that's 42. Plus the 1 is 43, so I'm getting 43 on this second stage. What do I do with my 43? I write down the last digit 3, and now I am carrying the 4 on my fingers somewhere, not on paper. I'm carrying the 4, and now what do? I do that left hand up. So that's 20. 5 times 4 is 20, plus the 4 on my fingers is 24, and since I'm done, I don't have to carry anything else. And I've written down the answer, 2,438, and I could check it, but you don't have to check it. If you know you're right, you're right. Let's just check. So we multiplied by doing this thing in our head in a new fashion. First the right hand up, then the cross, then the left hand up. So let's do another one. I'll throw in a 7 just because that's a little bit big. You can pause this and try it yourself, but I'm going to pretend like I'm ready to go, and so are you. 6 times 7, that's the right hand up. We do it first. It's 42. Carry the 4 on our fingers. Now comes kind of the hard part. I've got an 18 and a 35 and a 4 on my fingers. I'm going to choose to do the 18 plus the 4 on my fingers. 18 plus 4 on my fingers is 22. 22 plus 35 is 57. Now I'm carrying the 5 from the 57, and I'm home free. I'm on the downhill stretch. The cross is the hardest part. While I've been talking, I forgot what I carried, but I have the 5 on my fingers. I'm holding it right up, and so I don't have to worry about losing track of these things. 3 times 5 is 15, plus the 5 on my fingers is 2072, and the check is relatively simple. We just do the multiplication. Normal, standard, sort of boring way, and it checks. Now if the numbers get big, if the digits are big, the addition can be a little bit harder sometimes. So let's do a 94 times a 38, where the 9 and the 8 are kind of big, and just see how this works. You might pause the video and try it yourself. So I'm going to do the up, that's 32, carrying the 3 on my fingers. Now, I've got 9 times 8 is 72, and this is 12, and I have 3, and I don't see any really good way to add those. So I'm just going to do the 12 plus the 72, that's 84, plus the 3 on my fingers is 87. Write down the 7 from the 87, the last digit, and carry the 8. Now 8 takes 2 hands, but believe me, I'm doing it because I don't want to forget the 8 while I'm talking. Something happened here, something bad happened here. There we go, and I still have the 8 on my fingers, and now we're doing the third step, the last up, and so we have 3 times 9 is 27, plus the 8 on my fingers is 35. I have no idea if I remembered that right, because as I was talking, as you saw, the screen kind of disappeared on me for some strange reason. So who knows, maybe this won't check. It checked. So let's try one more. 89 times 43. Let's try that. So you can pause it, try it if you want. I'm going to do the up, that's 27, put down the 7, I'm carrying the 2. And now a good thing happens. Look at this 24 and this 36. 24 and 36 combine really nicely. 24 plus 36 is just plain 60, plus the 2 is 62. I kind of caught a break. Now I have 6. I'm doing my last up. 8 times 4 is 32, plus the 6 I'm holding on my fingers is 38. I'm feeling pretty confident about that one. The check is to actually do regular multiplication. And it checks. So, should this be the extra credit on the final exam? And I think it will be. That's what you need to be able to do, a 2-digit by 2-digit. The question then becomes, could this be done on other problems? And this next part, you don't have to be able to do. This next part will not show up on an exam. But I found that if I show people this next part and they try it, it helps them get better at these kind of problems, which is what the goal is. It's what the target is. So let's try a 3-digit by 3-digit multiplication. Now, we're going to try to be able to do that in our head. That's pretty amazing. So now we have 3 digits. I don't know, maybe one more. So the plan is to do the right up and then do kind of the right cross. I'll call it a double cross. And then we do what I will call a triple cross. And then we do the left double cross. And then we do the left up. And that's it. And as you can tell, these ups are pretty easy. You know what a cross looks like, what I'm calling a double cross. And evidently you can handle that if you're still with me on this video. But of course the triple cross is 3 different products. So let's just try this out. We first do the up. That's 5 times 6. That's right here. That's 30, and I'm carrying a 3. Now we do this right hand cross. So that's 24 and 10 and 3. 24 and 10 is 34, and 3 is 37. So put down the 7, now I'm carrying the 3, now I'm entering the dangerous territory. But something kind of weird happens. The more numbers you get that you're adding together, the more chances that something good might happen. You never know. So what's the triple cross? It's 3 times 6, it's 4 times 2, and it's 5 times 4, and we got to be dealing with those. But the good news is they don't go anywhere. This is still 18. So let's do the 18 plus the 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 6 is 18 plus 8 is 26. And then we need this 20. 26 plus this 20 is 46. And the 3 that I still have on my fingers makes 49. Write down the 9. Now I'm carrying the 4. And now I'm on the easier end of things. It's getting better. So, I've forgotten what I was supposed to be carrying. I put 4 on my fingers, but I don't actually remember doing it. So I'm going to just backtrack. 18 and 8 is 26, plus 20 is 46, plus 3 is 49. Put down the 9, carry the 4. So I was right. I'm carrying a 4. And now I do this left hand double cross. So I've got 6. 6 plus the 4 on my fingers is 10. Plus the 16 is 26. I'm writing down the 6 and carrying the 2. And now I have 3 times 4. That left hand, left-sided up, 3 times 4 is 12. Plus the 2 that I'm carrying is 14. So I think that this is going to be the answer. Of course I could check this on a calculator, but something about the very nature of this problem makes me want to handle it without a calculator. So it checks. So I've waffled back and forth about whether this will be the extra credit on the final exam. I'm going to declare right now that this type of problem will be on the extra credit on the final exam. So when you go to turn in your final exam, as you turn it in, I will hand you a piece of paper with a problem on it. something like one of these, 2 digits by 2 digits, but not one of these necessarily. And you're going to stand there while I'm kind of watching, and you're simply going to write down the answer if you can. If you want to pass, then you just say I